let's get into this second segment, talking about the guys that got away and really how much losing out on these free agents is going to affect the Ravens. And the first one I got to talk about, I was so excited. I thought it was going to happen. I put out a video on it. Rodney Hudson, I was so ready. It would seem like, the stars aligned. Like the Ravens needed a center. Rodney Hudson, who was not expected to be released, allowed 1 sack in like 4 seasons, gets released. I was like, yes, this is the guy. Gets traded to Arizona. I was so disappointed. So I think we can talk about him, but also the other centers that the Ravens missed out on. Corey Linsley going to the Chargers and Alex Mack going to the 49ers, because those were the 3 best centers available.
Yeah.
Missed out on all of them, and center was the most needed position because somebody decided to forget the centers how to snap the football.
Only thing I can say about that is you definitely would think they'll make the move on Rodney Hudson for the simple fact of how they did the same thing with Zettler. They pretty much waited to the New York Giants. Oh yeah, we're releasing him. Boom. Immediately they're on the phone getting to work. So you as a Ravens fan, listen to Eric DeCosta, you listen to the conferences, you hear him being interviewed. His thing he wants to do is get the line correct first. So with him saying that, you did one move. You think you're going to pull the trigger again. Like, I'm not mad at Joe Tooney. I understand why he got the money he did. When he played in New England, he played center, left guard, and they put him on the outside as a tackle as well. So, I mean, hey, more power to that guy. Versatility on the offensive line, it gets you a long way. It obviously shows. I mean, look at I can't remember off the top of my head, but y'all know those guys.
Either Larry Allen played a bunch of positions on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame, I believe, typically right guard. But yeah, versatility is key. I mean, having guys that can plug in. The Ravens needed that last year. They needed somebody. I mean, they tried with Tyree, but he was. I mean, I'll give it to him. He may be the best fullback on the Ravens.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if we do have to switch Patrick Ricard to tight end, we know who now is our starting fullback. I'm cool with Gus and JK running behind him. I'm fine with it.
I mean, but you see him pick up that football. He was leveling defenders. So he was ready. I believe he also injured like his hamstring on that play, but
no. He had a concussion protocol, McConnell.
Oh, well, that's.
I think one of the safeties. I think one of the safeties finally brought him down.
It was very unfortunate. He's the greatest one-play bust football carrier in maybe NFL history. I mean, it was legendary. Well, maybe besides that, like Patriots offensive lineman that returned that kick like 85 yards or whatever against the Packers on like Sunday Night Football. But the offensive lineman, it hurts to lose them. It's rough, but obviously we did still get an offensive lineman. It's not like we went over on the offensive lineman. We got one of the top guards in the free agency pool. So missing out on the center, yes, it hurts, but at the same time, they could still go after some of the lower end guys, or also just draft somebody to plug in. Hopefully, somebody good. Creed Humphrey, maybe.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think they're going to try to. I think with them not going at their center, I think they're actually giving more trust into either Bradley Bozeman or what's the other guy? He has 2 last names, Castillo.
Oh yeah. Castillo, yeah. That's one of the names. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, I mean, he played
nice.
He played 2 solid games at center, so I mean, I'm trying. In Eric DeCosta, we trust. We're trusting the bank.
Yep. So moving on from the offensive lineman, which is a little bit more boring. A lot of Ravens fans, including myself, kind of wanted them to go after, kind of an edge rusher. I still wanted them to go after. My goal was really, my goal's working out great. Don't sign a wide receiver, sign an offensive lineman, re-sign Bowser and McPhee. So far, so good. But they were kind of rumored to be interested in like Carlos Dunlap and Hassan Reddick. So we can talk about, those guys, but there were other guys, Shaq Barrett, Leonard Floyd, Jadeveon Clowney's still available. So possibly, but they haven't signed, kind of a top end edge rusher that can really go after the sacks, because that's really something that the Ravens have shown that they've needed against the Chiefs, against the Bills, not being able to generate pressure on your own. Because we saw what Matthew Judon tried to do, and it did not work. He tried to do it for 3 years in a row, and it still did not work. So the Ravens said, they said adios, because he couldn't do what he was going to get paid to do. So they haven't signed anybody yet. Is this concerning to you? Are you worried that they haven't brought in any edge rushers? Like our edge rushers are Pernell McPhee, Jalen Ferguson, and Tyus Bowser. I like them all. They're all good players, but they're not true edge rushers. They're kind of plug and play, young, versatile type of players.
Am I worried? No. The simple fact is Ravens football, and this is not me being a Ravens fan. This is me being This is me being a football connoisseur. This is me understanding the game. If you had watched Ravens football, Wink Martindale, Rex Ryan, those type of defensive coordinators, Marvin Lewis, they have systems where they can beat some of the best offenses. So with that being said, Wink Martindale, if you find the right pieces to put together in this system, hey, they're going to shine. And understand this, y'all. Every time someone leaves the Ravens, especially defense, how many players have y'all seen go to a Pro Bowl? Ask me that question.
Did Zadarius Smith go to a Pro Bowl?
That may be one.
that's the worst example.
Or Darius Thomas. I think he got another Super Bowl ring with the Patriots.
Yep.
But other than that, you didn't hear too much about these guys.
That's true. That is very true. Zadarius Smith is definitely an outlier in that sense. You look at Pernell McPhee. Pernell McPhee played for the Ravens, was very solid, won a ring, left to Chicago.
Yep.
Didn't really do too much. Then he came back to Baltimore and he played. I'm not saying he was bad in Chicago, but it was never was able to blossom. And that's why the Ravens so often let guys go, is because they understand that their scheme, their mantra of Ravens football is able to have great defenses. And so I think not signing guys and really I think they're putting a lot of faith in the draft.
And let's not forget they actually got Chauncey Rivers too on the practice squad as well. He did have a good season when he finally transferred. I forgot which school it was. I think it was Mississippi State. I think he transferred actually to Mississippi State as he left JUCO.
Yeah.
But Chauncey Rivers had a pretty good season on that edge as well. So look at and then don't be surprised if in the third round we draft Roche out of University of Miami. Look him up, y'all. Maryland boy, Randallstown.
Yeah, I think the draft is going to be key for this offseason because a lot of Ravens fans. We're talking about the ones that got away. You got to bring up the wide receiver position. A lot of Ravens fans, not myself. I was adamant against the wide receivers, unless they were like Allen Robinson or Kenny Golladay, but I didn't think the Ravens would even sign them because they wouldn't have the money. Mm-hmm. Guys got away, whether it's lower end Curtis Samuel or it's Kenny Golladay. Juju's up in the air. I like Juju. I wouldn't be mad if the Ravens signed him, but they haven't signed anybody at the wide receiver position, and they're all going other places. So I think I don't think the Ravens are missing out just because I think they really have faith. They're showing a lot of faith in T. Martin, wide receivers coach from Tennessee, but they're also having faith in Eric DeCosta in his drafting skills. Yeah. He's been pretty decent in terms of the draft. A lot of Ravens fans, I'll get into it later. So make sure to check out the next segment. Make sure to check it out.
The past two drafts, them everybody that he drafted did some work, but yeah.
So overall, I mean, they've just been good at being able to plug in holes, and fixing up the offensive line, I think, was more of a priority for them, and that's what they said. So missing out, yes, sort of missing out, but at the same time, the Ravens have a plan. This isn't the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks went in, their quarterback is said, hey, you guys need to fix up the offensive line. You need to get, a defense and everything. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to sign anybody. I think eventually they signed Gerald Everett, and they downgraded at cornerback. Like they literally did not, and they had cap space. Just be glad that we're not Seahawks fans, because they're getting destroyed by the front office. They're not doing anything. They have 4 picks in the draft, no first rounder. So overall, I think the Ravens are doing very solid, and they're following their plan. Fix up the offensive line, maintain the guys that they have, that they see a part of their future, and then they still have some money. They got money left over. They can still make a play for, I'm hoping, Jadeveon Clowney. That would be my ideal guy. But don't worry, they're not done yet. Is there anybody else that you think that the Ravens kind of missed out on, Joshua?
Honestly, if we would have made another splash, I would have said Shaq Barrett. Putting a Tyus Bauer and a Shaq Barrett across from each other, I can just only imagine how much havoc they will wreak. Honestly, I'm actually kind of interested in the Juju signing. The reason and if we miss out on it, I won't be mad. But you bringing that, you reunited him with his coach, one of his coaches from USC.
Yep.
If we actually, if we real about it, Juju will actually bring a more excitement to the wide receiver core. Yes, I know we have Miles Boykins. Yes, we do have Devin Duvernay. We have James Prochet, and we have Mr. Hollywood Brown. But at the same time, you still need guys that can help, produce. So, I'm gonna say this, because of course, Eric DeCosta, the whole Ravens front office, like you said, we have a formula, we have a plan, and y'all know in the draft. So don't y'all start crying if we don't get a player that y'all do not want. But in if the wide receivers that we've been calling out get picked, I see us going at edge rusher with the best one available with our first pick. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is available in the second round, I see us striking the match. You'll have 2 USC guys that's good with the route running, good with hands, better speed, and they have a coach that they can actually relate to. And then, we're actually strengthening the offensive line. We may have something. We may have something going.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good for kind of this segment. And so thank you all for watching on YouTube. Subscribe to Daily Ravens content. For listening on the podcast, thanks for listening. Don't worry, we're still going, but still check out the YouTube. Good stuff.